Is the report on this week?
Yes. And the first agenda item is election of chairperson.
I'd like to nominate Miss Kathleen Price to serve as chairperson. I think she's been here several years, has the experience. I didn't mean that in a bad way. And has been, I think, chairperson before. So I think due to that, she has experience, and not only that, I think she's a fine person. So I'm going to make that nomination.
I will second that nomination.
There's a nomination on the table and a second. Any discussion? There be no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? There being none, motion passes 5-0. Congratulations, Ms. Kathleen Price.
Okay, at this time we need to elect the vice chairperson. Need some nominations?
I would like to nominate, I don't know. I would like to nominate Miss Walker. She would accept it. I know that she's a new member, but I think it would be good.
I'll second that.
She's been a site-based parent a number of years. Experience.
Okay, we need a vote. We've got a nomination, we got a second, we need a vote.
Okay, I vote aye.
I hear.
Motion carries. Welcome. Okay, and next item is Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Board, I'd like to also take the opportunity to introduce the JROTC. Of course, you know Sergeant Carroll, but this is First Lieutenant Morrison. And we're certainly proud of them and the program that they've got going on over there. And Sergeant Carroll's just doing an exceptional job over there. As you well know, there is still an opening for the JROTC over there, and we're diligently looking and recruiting for a partner for Sergeant Carroll. But you've done a tremendous job over there, and we're very proud of you. Thank you, Lieutenant Morrison. Thank you.
I met him when he first came here. I liked him the first time I met him. So, and the wife seems like an extremely nice person also.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's nice to have you. I hear you bought you a house. And
Well, we close on Thursday, so then we'll have a house.
ready to settle down.
Wickerfield, buddy.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, anything further? Let you get back to your business. Please.
Okay, at this time, we'd like to observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Our next item is going to be our student spotlight.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a request. We have an item on our agenda that includes many of our students here in the district. It's on soccer. Right now it's listed as number 13. Again, there's a lot of students and parents in here, and I've been asked if we could move that up and dispense with that item if it's going to be acceptable to the board to do that. We would like to move this agenda item to number 9. And that'll be immediately after the discussion of, I'm sorry, number 11. Gotta get my Roman numerals correct. I think we're going to be able to get through the agenda pretty quickly at that point. Can we make that move?
Yes.
Okay. The student spotlight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have this evening with us for our student spotlight our Beta Club members, and I'm going to read through the list because of the names of the students, and I'm going to ask the sponsors of these Beta Clubs to come on up and share with some of the activities that they've been involved with. What we want to do, we want to give our create opportunities in our schools and in the communities for our kids to appreciate the value of civic involvement. And they have just done a tremendous job. If you're on the school Facebook or the district Facebook or even Twitter, you will see a lot of the activities that these kids have been involved in, especially over the holiday time. So, Ms. Harless, it's good to have you here, and I want to read off these names, okay, and then we can talk about some of the activities. Kaylee Harless, Madison Jude, Jake Kane, Colin Horn, Hannah Rosensteel, Riley Baldridge, Hannah Muncie, Jada Priest, Evan Crum, Vincent Lawson, Nick, thank you, Hannah Stacy, Bailey Dials, Brandon Endicott, Chase Moore, Brittany Thompson, Andrew Horn, Allison Grayson, Michael Osborne, Graydon Proctor, Garrett Alley, Skyla Messer, Dennison Davis, Kaylee, I'm sorry, these who are here tonight are representing some other students that are they all here?
No, just
those on.
Just those on the bottom, okay.
some of them didn't actually show up.
That's Eden.
Okay. Yes, please. Ms. Harless, go ahead and share some of the activities that we've been involved with here.
Actually, this is my first year, so I'm in K-TIP, and I chose to do the Beta Club as my leadership project, which I really enjoy and hopefully will get to continue even after this year. A couple things that we have done, we did the Kiwanis food baskets, and the kids really, they enjoyed that. Let's hear that one. Kelly, do you want to tell what you guys did for Kiwanis?
Well, we passed out food for the people that didn't have anything, and we just want to share our community and make sure there's food for everybody.
Okay. And then, actually the first thing we did, we went to the nursing home and we sang Christmas carols, and I might have had 1 or 2 kids that didn't show up out of 20, so they are really excited about getting involved. Let's see, who is here? Brandon, do you want to see? Or Denison, do you want to tell about it? Who wants to tell about the cookies and milk? Vincent, you want to tell?
When the parade came by Ina's, we were at the dairy barn and we passed out Oreos and milk to everybody on the floats.
That was another project that we served everybody with hot chocolate and cookies as they went by on the float. And then, let's see. Oh, the things that we plan to do. These are just a few things that we've done so far. The things that we plan to do, we're going to do a pride cleanup, hopefully, if it ever warms up. And then also the random acts of kindness. And we have discussed different things like just going out and going like to Save a Lot or the dollar store and help people load their groceries. Just random things like that. Actually, I want the kids to come up with different ideas. So that's just a few things that we have done. They really enjoy it. They're awesome.
We're very, very proud of them. And kids, the value of giving back to your community, you just can't start early enough. We're just so very proud of you on behalf of the Board of Education. We want to congratulate you on learning some valuable lessons early and giving to your community of your time. It's one of the things that's just so very important, is showing up for people and what you're doing for your community and the people beyond this community as you continue in your educational experience and grow up and continue on with your life here in this area. Never stop giving back to your community. It's very, very important. You guys do a great job. But it takes good leaders too. Leaders, we appreciate you. I want to give these certificates out to these kids tonight. Martin County School Staff Spotlight, the certificate is awarded to, and each one of the names that I'll call. The first one being Amy Harless for exemplifying the value of a Martin County education. Thank you so very much again. Appreciate your leadership. Thank you. Kaylee? Whose kid are you? Jake Kane?
He's not here.
Okay. Colin Horn?
Didn't show up.
Okay. Hannah Muncie? Congratulations. Thank you. Good job. Jada Priest?
Didn't show up.
Okay. Vincent Lawson? Congratulations. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Chase Moore? Congratulations. Allison Grayson. Denison Davis. Thank you, son. Congratulations. Brandon Endicott. Good job, son. Appreciate you. Evan Crum. Good job, son. Riley Baldridge. Congratulations. Now, I given her daddy a hard time earlier. He got selected to do a half-court shot over at Warfield a few weeks ago, wearing a UK blue uniform. And how many shots did you take?
2.
You're going to have to school your dad. How many did you make?
None.
Oh, now, if you had double overtime, you might have done that. You might have pulled that one out. But once again, community, audience, we're very, very proud of our children. And again, it's so very important to create the opportunities for these kids to excel. And it takes leadership. It takes strong leadership and a dedicated, committed leadership. So that's from the school, the teachers, parents, the community, business partners, and certainly on behalf of you kids. We appreciate your involvement once again. Okay, all right. And Eden Elementary. Come on. Goldie Atkins, Haley Johnson, Vanessa Blatton, Madison Hillman, Tyra Hammond. Okay. If I did not call your name, we'll get a certificate made for you. Okay. All right.
All right, I'm Goldie Atkins. I'm the sponsor of the Eden Elementary Beta Club. And these are I just asked my officers to show up tonight because I knew it would be really crowded. And these are a few of my students that are also here for soccer. They're getting recognized for several things. So here's some things that the Eden Elementary Beta Club has done so far this year. We did a Christmas craft at the nursing home. I baked some Christmas cookies and the kids showed up and painted them with the people at the nursing home. And they seemed to really enjoy that. We served Thanksgiving dinner for the Martin County senior citizens. We took a little field trip, and the kids really enjoyed that. The field trip part, more than about anything, but they really did enjoy that. They helped clean up when it was over, and it was a couple hours. We did cards for a sick little girl that's been in Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Her name is Gwyneth, and she has some family members that go to school at Eden. So we did some cards for her birthday. We helped out at the Polar Express night at the Roy F. Collier Community Center. They gave out tickets for prizes. They helped straighten up when it was over. They helped set everything out on the tables. They had a lot of fun at the Polar Express night. We did a toy drive at Walmart. I'm so amazed at how great the kids did. They raised over $760 in one day. They then went and purchased toys for the resource room at Eden Elementary to give out for Christmas gifts. So Marlena was super excited about that, and really made the kids feel good, like they were really doing something. And then we served Thanksgiving dinner at the Paintsville Recreation Center. That was a pretty big deal. There was a whole lot of people there. That was our first major event that we did. And the kids really took a sense of pride in that. And I'm really glad that they got to do that, and I hope that we get to do that again next year. We did a food drive at the school, and the kids stayed after school with Marlena, and they helped pack up food baskets for Thanksgiving. And here is a shot of us Christmas caroling at the nursing home. So they've been really busy. We don't have anything planned for January because I know weather is so crazy. I'm not even going to go there. But we'll get back on the ball in February, and they'll be doing some more awesome stuff.
And again, these certificates, Martin County Schools Student Spotlight, certificate is awarded to, and I'll name each child off of here, Haley Johnson, for exemplifying the value of a Martin County education. Vanessa. Madison. Tyra. Thank you so very much. Now we got your certificates. Okay, they're not in here. very, very proud of you. I'll give those to you for your other students. Let's give them another round of applause. Willa and where's Michael Morgan? Both of you guys, please stand up. It's because of your leadership, again, that these kids have an opportunity that we create in our schools for them to serve. And certainly taking care of the teachers and them stepping up to do this for our kids. We appreciate you kids.
Maybe one comment. That's okay. But I was amazed. I'm impressed. The Beta Club, I didn't know, which I found out. I was familiar with Beta Club in high school. I'm thinking, Beta Club, the elementary level. So it's a great job, and I'm really impressed. And I'm sure it's really going to be beneficial to everybody. So
I think both groups need to go to Louisville for the conference. Just for the record.
I think it's great. I mean, I never heard of a Beta Club at the elementary level.
They have a conference in Louisville in February. Our kids will go to, right, Will?
That was a great.
I second that emotion.
Can we get a vote?
Can we start singing? All right, our staff spotlight this evening is for our arts and humanities in our district. We were very fortunate this past year for the board to support a full-time music teacher at the high school and a full-time music teacher at the middle school, and it is paying off handsome benefits. Our kids are involved. It's just a tremendous asset, not only to our schools for children involvement or student involvement, but for the community. So if you had an opportunity, and I'll let them talk about it in just a moment, but especially the concerts that were provided over at the youth center, or at the RCC Center over the holidays. So without further ado, we'd like to recognize this month for our staff spotlight, Mr. Bruce Harkins and Mr. David John. Please give them a hand. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to share about your programs. First off, when I met Bruce here last year, he was about wore out. And so going back and forth to the middle school, at the high school, I can't imagine what he did before that when we had 2 middle schools and the high school. But he just did a tremendous job. He stuck with it. I just can't say enough about his commitment, his dedication. And one of the first questions I asked him is, do you know anybody like you? So he said, as a matter of fact, I do know 2 or 3 people. So I don't know if you were the third person down. But we certainly recruited another winner for our middle school. And folks, listen, this is in its infancy here in this district. The musical program, and I'll just go ahead and tie in Ms. Kristen Hale for the library and the drama department as well. It has just given our kids, so many of our kids, an opportunity to get involved and gain a greater appreciation of music and how that discipline contributes to the success in the classroom in achievement. So we appreciate both of you. Bruce, talk a little bit about your program and where it's been, where it's going for our kids.
Well, the very first thing when I got here, my idea was I want to make sure that the school that I teach in has a program that rivals any program in the country. It's a hard goal to meet because of economic reasons, because of number reasons. I mean, sometimes when you look at it, you might have one kid that's on academic team, on the football team, on the basketball team, and they do all these things, and we sometimes find ourselves with number issues, but the goal has always been, what can I do to make it equitable for every single kid? The goal in my heart, I just want to make sure that they're making music, but more importantly, when they leave, are they going to be able to commit to something? Are they going to be able to contribute? We are finally now laying that foundation where we're having a band family, where a kid will come in, and we started out with 10, and you got 20, and now you have this band of 40 kids, literally, that are starting to really care about one another and realize that I'm dependent upon. I need to be here on time. And it's these different things that we're implementing that are really creating a memorable experience for them. The high school kids, one of the highlight, anything we do all year, they look forward to that concert at Eden Elementary. It is the thing that if I pulled away, they would want to just ride against me. Every time we go over there, that's the one thing my high school kids never, ever stop talking about, because it's all about giving. That's what the arts are about. Every single child is creative. every single one of them. We are all creators. And when you give them the opportunity and when they're aware of it, when that awareness kicks in and they realize, wow, this is something that I'm creating and I'm a part of and I belong to this and it has value to me, that's when you realize, oh, it's out of my hands. I don't even know what to do with it now, except for just try to make it better. And one of the things, I needed help. I really did. And David is an exceptional teacher, very, very young, very, very motivated, and he had the idea of 5th grade band. It is probably, it's the most progressive thing I think we've done in a long time for music, because 5th grade, actually, go ahead. You take it. It was an idea.
First of all, I just want to thank Bruce, Mr. Meadows, Mr. Haney so much. Just having the support here has been amazing. My first year teaching. I'm not from the area as much, but I'm loving it here. I can't wait to just keep building the programs up and keep making it better and better. But 5th grade band, we were talking about ways to recruit and make the numbers bigger and just have more success with the program. And I thought, what a better way than 5th grade band, athletics, you start the kids young, they get hooked, they get into it. Same thing with band, you need to start them young. So I thought, why not try 5th grade band? We actually just had our first meeting at Eden Elementary today, and we're going to be doing a different school every day of the week, going over working with the kids. With 5th graders, they're going to be going to middle school next year, and I just think we're going to see huge dividends a few years from now when those kids have got that extra few months of instruction, where they're going to be when they're 7th graders, 8th graders, and going on to the high school. And I think it's going to be really exciting to see how that pays off, and it's just a great way to get the younger kids involved in the music program also. So I just think
it's just an opportunity for us to get them and keep them here. To get a hold of them, 5th grade, and say, this is something you're a part of, stick with it. Even if you don't go into music, or even if you don't go into humanity, finish. Because we need you here. We want you here. And that's the biggest thing that we've really tried to push, and it's working. The best book I've read for success out of everything I've had to read is The Tortoise and the Hare. We're just going to keep on going slow, and we're going to try new things, experiment new things, fail in certain ways, succeed in others, and we're not going to do it quickly. We're going to go slow in one right direction instead of trying to go fast in the wrong one. So we're heading the right way.
Well, we appreciate you both.
Mr. Meadows and the public, you may not know that Mr. Harkin there and his lovely wife, they just don't stop at music at the end of the school day or the school year. I've gone several years over to Jenny Wiley Amphitheater, and if you go over there, you will find this young man, his wife, and other musicians from the area playing music in the orchestra at the Jenny Wiley Theater. And for someone to have that kind of love, man, you're #1 on my list. I just want you to know. But I want you all to know that he does that. And thank you.
I ask a question. Okay, as far as like your instruments and things like that, what do you have in the lines of there's the bands do by trumpets, clarinets, and things like that, but like things like baritones and sousaphone tubas and things. How are you equipment wise?
we could always use more.
We've got
where the numbers are growing.
Everything that I'm so sorry. Everything we have works.
Yeah.
Everything is in a playing condition that is wonderful. There are 2 or 3 things that Mr. Jump and I have discussed that are their larger purchases. We've been trying to go back and forth and really try to whittle it down to what we truly want.
Okay, what's some larger purchases? What would they be like? Timpanis or?
What did you purchase this year, Dave?
We got several different instruments and programs. We got some percussion equipment, a large
the percussion equipment is understood. That's a huge step forward, because under the middle school for a long time we had a full set for the high school. And just to go really quickly, like the timpani is a really complicated instrument. Like it's 4 little drums with pedals, and it is the most complicated thing that a child could have to play. And that's one thing the middle school doesn't have. I would say in percussion-wise, that would be the largest. That'd be a catapult leap forward to take our timpani, because we had them refurbished. They're good to go. Maybe move those down to middle school and get some new timpani. That would be exceptional. That's probably, that would be our big.
And do y'all know places about these things as far as good, and
Quality and price. Five figure. At least. For the,
all the stuff you need.
What did we spend in the middle school so far?
The stuff hasn't come in
Yeah.
yet, but it was somewhere in the vicinity of, was it over $2,000? It was over $2,000. I don't remember the exact amount.
Okay, what were those?
And I couldn't name all the instruments on it either.
Yeah.
You had to tell you the names.
Xylophones, simple,
Xylophones, things like that.
ballads, yeah.
That's when you trust your staff.
That's exactly right.
So mainly, percussion.
it's all, the percussion tends to be the things that years ago, and we went the right way. There are some quality instruments they were invested in, and some of them are reaching the end of their life. That's the only issue. They're working. We've got them. We've been really cranking them, getting them going, but
Okay, I like, baritones and things like that.
that's rough. That's that situation is
I was gonna
rough.
say, for me, the biggest thing has been, as the numbers grow, we're looking at about 57 in the band this year, and expecting that to be even bigger, 80 or 90 next year. We're just running out of instruments.
Okay. Those baritones are big
Yeah.
purchases and things like that. So that's something.
Just can't get our hands fast enough. So,
Yeah.
and that's really just numbers.
So can we have, which I know Kathleen's checked on, grants? I know they're pretty difficult. It's like playing the lottery. Sometimes you hit and hunger for music, and of course the Fender, and of course you check on DH1 and have our grant writer to check on some of those and also what we can do. But I've heard a lot of good things about you guys and what great work you're doing. And for the band, I know there's a national championship game tonight, Ohio State and Oregon. But I would rather watch the Ohio State band than their team. I would. I mean, they're great. I know you guys have seen them. So I think you guys are doing a great job. Whatever we can do. Whatever we can do.
Yes. We continue to move forward. There's not a, you guys know, we're the principal, and certainly that we had several discussions, and as we continue to move on, we have funds available now. I mean, we'll go after the grants, but we've got funds that we're working with these guys on.
Well, I like to think of history now. I love that idea.
So can I ask you just one question? I know we've got a lot of talented kids in this area, which Mickey can vouch for that. And so how is the talent? I mean, of course, I know you're going down to elementary.
That's great. We've got
The talent's exceptional. It's just, this is the standard where we're at, and you need to rise into it every day. That's the tough part. Because you need to have the talent, the networking ability, you want to be really famous at it, or but just about showing up every day and wanting to work, you give 120%. That's the challenge.
That's all you need. What instruments go?
Oh, the tuba. The tubas are always needed.
No, I'm talking about what you play.
Oh, I play tuba. Yeah.
Okay, what do you
saxophone.
And he plays a pretty mean guitar.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, working with, we just started a jazz band at the middle school, so we had to get into jazz band.
Yeah.
And a real quick plug, if those of you that know Pricey Kazee and her daughter Rachel, Rachel's actually going to be participating in the all-district band this coming Thursday and Friday. She auditioned, I hate to say against, it's always like, we try to make music this big collective thing, like we're all going to share together, and we do district band, and these kids are auditioning against each other and trying to outplay one another, and she did a great job. She'll be over at Paintsville for 2 days at the Ramada Inn. Dr. Richard Miles from Oregon State's coming in to conduct the band. Usually the band, right now we're getting to this point where we're reading a lot of music, because it's a lot of literacy that we're learning over the next few years and past. This band's going to learn 6 pieces of music in 2 days, and it's just like, that's just that's like so much music to learn for high school. So it's a really big undertaking for them, and it's awesome. They are the cream of the crop of our district, and Rachel, she blew it away. She did such a good job. She's a senior, and she's achieving everything she's wanted to achieve this year, so it's like, happy for her. We don't have her much longer. Hopefully we don't have her till June, good job, May.
We agree that we've got 2 guys here with a lot of passion for what they do. And finally, in our spotlight, certainly not least, but for our community spotlight, we have Ms. Melissa Phelps here, representing the Kiwanis Club of Greater Martin County. And we appreciate the partnerships that we have with our civic organizations, faith-based organizations in our community, our churches, and our clubs, and the sponsorship, because it's all about kids. And I've been to some of the meetings. I know what you guys are involved in, some of the fests that you work hard. It's all about getting people involved. So audience, let it be contagious. All of these organizations in the community are always looking for other hands and feet to get these things going, because they're here to serve. And a lot of it is directly for the benefit of our kids. And we really appreciate it. It's a good role model for them. It's a good opportunity for them to get in there, not just community service hours, but to be civic oriented. So we appreciate the commitment that you guys have and the Kiwanis in providing that opportunity for our kids. So, Martin County Schools Community Spotlight. This certificate is awarded to Kiwanis Club of Greater Martin County for exemplifying the value of a Martin County education. I know you have one of these before, but this is for the new one for you.
We'll take one every year.
Yeah, every year. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Would you like to share everything?
The school system for always being supportive of the Kiwanis Club and always letting us use one of the facilities to do our distribution for our Christmas baskets. We've been doing that since I was in school here. So I want to thank Mr. Markham for letting us use Inez Elementary this year. Mr. Haney always let us use the middle school. Dr. Laney was going to help us this year. We had a scheduling conflict, so we appreciate it. And it's just very exciting to see all these kids getting involved at such a young age, because I can't speak for Mary, but for me, that's how I got started, was in school. With the Key Club, the Environmental Club with Miss McCoy. That's how I learned to become caring about my community. So it's exciting to see all these kids, and we invite every one of y'all to come to Kiwanis every Thursday at noon upstairs in Miss Ida's. We would love to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, Madam Chair, back to the number 8 on the agenda.
Okay, the next item is our consent agenda. It's discussion and possible action on December the 1st, 2014, December the 16th, 2014, and December the 19th, 2014 board minutes. Discussion and possible action on the treasurer orders in the amount of $308,665.51 and paid warrants in the amount of $456,671.52. Then we have the discussion and possible action on professional conferences, vehicle request, and use of district facilities. Any questions or discussion?
Are we taking those individually?
It's a consent agenda. You can, if you like.
Oh, this is just to, okay, this is just to talk about it then, right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no question.
If not, I need a motion to accept. I'll make that motion. I need a second.
Questions about the consent agenda?
I have a question. What is it concern? I'm in the dark.
It's, one is the treasurer's orders and the paid warrants are the bills.
If we vote question, I'll second it just for this reason, so that we can have discussion. For Robert's Rules of Order, I think I'm in line there. Now my discussion is just what the lady asked out there. Does it mean that we're going to pass the minutes from those 3 meetings, and that we're going to pass or reject the treasurer's orders in the amount of $308,000 and some, and we're going to accept, if we say vote yes on this, we accept the action on the professional conferences vehicle requests and use of district facilities. You understand my question,
Yes,
sir?
sir. Yes, it's a consent agenda if it's the information to the board. If you don't want to vote on it, you're not, it's just reporting. It's saying that this is what happened. For example, the minutes. These are the minutes of the board, and it's not that you can question them, it's just the minutes of the board. If they need to be amended or anything. Now, whether we agreed or whether you agree with past actions of the board, that's not part of what the discussion is about here. This consent is for, these are the minutes of the previous board, and you're saying, yes, we received them in an open session, and
But it's not passing those minutes.
no, the minutes have already passed. Is there a correction to the minutes? Do we need a correction? Is there a correction or amendment to the minutes?
Okay, let me explain. I want to be totally transparent, and hopefully I'll stay that way until my tenure is through. What I have a question about, Madam Chair and Superintendent and members of the board, is that I wasn't able to, not because of the fault of anyone here or this board, but I was not able to download the attachments for some of the things on here. And again, I want to make it perfectly clear, it wasn't any kind of malicious problem, and no one on this board was trying to hoodoo me. However, and why I said can we take it individually, I find myself not being able to take any action on B, because I have so many questions, and I think I talked to a couple people here at the board's office today about the bills, the treasurer's orders, which I believe on January the 4th, tomorrow at 4 p.m. In the orientation for new BOE members, I will be able to be made to understand more about those particular bills, sir. You understand? Yes, I would ask you if I could speak with you and the treasurer.
Whoever the lanes are.
Yeah.
And what you can do, Mr. McCoy, and also for Ms. Walker, let me just use the minutes. You weren't here last meeting, you weren't a board member, so you can vote present if you so desire. And for those 3 board members that are here, you can pass those. And it's not for that you're questioning what's in there, it's just that you didn't have the opportunity to either be present for those minutes or to see those attachments to finance. So that's entirely up to you. You can vote, you can just say present. So you could just table it.
I would make a motion to table the next.
Now, the treasurer orders, we need to pay bills. There you go.
What I need to ask Tammy is the Mountain Citizen on those. So I had a chance to glance over, because I do know that we generally at that time we have a Christmas greetings and things like that.
And board, when I offer the tabling, and that's why I was quick to say that the bills need to be paid, we would have to come back this week. We couldn't put it on tomorrow because it's a work session. But
sure.
If you table that portion, then we're not going to be able to pay any of our bills. So my recommendation to the board is if you want to table the minutes and take a look at those, if you want to vote present, that's up to the board, whatever they want to do. Tammy, would you like to add to the payment of the bills, or?
They are due within 30 days, and after 30 days, a lot of them have late charges. So if there's any question before, and I spoke to Mr. Meadows, before a board meeting, you have questions, just call me, and I will go over them and explain in detail what it was for, what project it was, or whatever it is. I can honestly say I have not seen anything questionable on it this month. There's not anything questionable, and the bills are here current and I will be glad to stay after the board meeting and go over them, or, as you said, tomorrow, meet with you and go over the bills.
Please understand, ma'am, that I'm not at all saying that something is questionable. It's just that I need to, you know, do you understand my position?
Absolutely. I would not
Thank
want to blindly approve something that I have not been able to view. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And the Mountain Citizens,
I believe it was on last board meeting. I think, Gary. I'll have to look and see. There on the table that I pushed in, there is one stack that was, and those are the amount of bills that we pay monthly. One stack is last month and one stack is this month, so there's quite a bit.
I know that we do have, you know, they generally do an ad around Christmas times, and some of that being which
I don't have my treasurer's orders in front of me, I'm sorry, to check. I know we paid a lot of invoices for Mountain Citizen. It was either last board meeting or this one. Yes.
I mean, I'd have to vote
Is
president.
it on this one?
Yes, it's on this one.
So you
It
have
is
to
on
vote
there?
president.
Yes.
Okay, I would have to vote president, and president just means I'm not taking any action on this here. I'm not gonna vote to, yeah, I can't vote, well, I'll vote president.
Would it help if we took that out?
Uh,
I mean, my concern is not being able to pay the bills.
well, I've got a lot of, I mean,
Unless you want to have another.
I have a lot of complaints to the OEA against me, and I don't need any more. Yeah, if you want to take them out.
Can we pull the Mountain Citizen
Yes, I
out?
can. Yes.
Madam Chairman, if we can pull the, and vote on it separately, or just pull it out?
What if we pull it out?
If you pull it out, that's all right. Yeah, I can vote on it. Yeah, I can vote on it.
So the consent agenda, with exception to invoices of Mountain Citizen for this month.
Okay, I made the motion, I need a second.
I'll say.
Need a vote? Aye.
All right.
Okay.
Present.
Present. Okay. Yeah, I don't have time either. Motion passes. Our next item is going to be the discussion and possible action on establishing a soccer team at Martin County Middle School.
Is this the soccer? We're going to move that item up. Soccer, because we have a lot of kids here and the coaches. Board, I also sent, and certainly Nick, you know, the attachment probably wasn't able to open that either.
I saw that on here.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first I will just say that any opportunity that we have, especially in the middle school, in that age, it's important to try to create, not for nine purposes or anything else, other because we have to, but because it's needed. It's things that we need to do, is create opportunities for our kids to be involved. Because in the middle school, at that age, you know, it's that in their mind, that's where they're starting to drop out. We need to create opportunities for them to stay involved, not only for the student involvement, which directly translates and correlates with student success. The more a child is involved in the school experience, the more successful that they're going to be in life, and certainly with their academic success. So I encourage the board and certainly recommend this soccer program at the middle school as an opportunity for our kids to be involved. And I think we have the students, parents here, but I would ask Mr. Bobby Hale and Mr. Steve Goss, who are the coaches who serve for those programs, to come on in. And if you would like to speak a little bit about the board, I shared with you the proposal. Hopefully you have a few minutes of what the board has viewed.
Just a few things about the soccer. A lot of people may not know where we came from. We've been involved in it, me and my wife, Marcella, for about 8 years. And we started with about 13 kids is all we had. And since then, we've grown the program. I mean, we've got it all the way down to 3-year-olds. And it's huge to get these kids out, to get them playing, to get them doing something. I mean, every kid you look at anymore has an electrical device in their hand. So for us, we get the parents on the field. Anybody ever plays where we know parents don't want to sit close because they'll get on the field. You know, it's getting them out, getting them to have fun. But you know, there's only so much that anybody that's ever been in the youth league can do. And for us, we're kind of at that point. It's a barrier, and it sounds kind of crazy, but we have a tough time getting kids to practice, getting them to games. And when it comes down to that, we try our best, me, Bobby, any other parents, we try our best to help, but it's something that you can't overcome. But another thing that we've done is we've created a huge feeder program. You know, our kids now are in middle school, so we have nothing to feed it to. And kids get disheartened. They put in a lot of time on these fields. And again, we've been to every field between here and Lexington. These parents have followed us around and put in the time. But for us, I mean, I'm very glad that I went to Mr. Haney. I talked to Mr. Meadows, and their biggest concern is the kids. It's an opportunity. You know, the sports that we have, there's nothing against them, but we want to offer any sport to any kid. Get them in the field, get them involved, get the parents involved, and that's our biggest thing, where we can have practices after school. I don't know if Mr. Miller's here or not. He's out there. You all may not know this, I don't know if you all know this or not. He actually played soccer in college for Asbury College. He's going to be a great contact person. This is not the first time he's helped us. He helped us last season. So he'll be there in the school, start practice after. And that helps break that one barrier down for us. I know cost is always a concern. Talking to Mr. Meadows and Mr. Haney, went back to the soccer parents, and to their credit, a lot of them said, look, you know, we'll do our best, we'll donate the money. When you look at the cost of it, hopefully we can get the cost of the uniforms, and we're going to pay for the cost of the uniforms. Equipment, the youth soccer league, no problem. We've got goals, we've got nets, flags, all the things that we need. And so it is an investment in our kids. I think it's a good investment if you all give us a blessing for it. Mr. Haney, I'll work with him closely. Bobby, Jeremy Horn's he's another youth league coach that's been helping us for a long time. I mean, we need to get these kids involved in something. We've got a good feeder program, so in my opinion, it is a nice little soccer.
And Stephen and I have talked on a couple of occasions about the high school girls program and the numbers that we have, and you know, for some reason, anytime you have a sport associated with the school, you have more involvement, and that's, we want to get the numbers at the high school up. The only way that we can see to do that is by having that feeder program for middle school. If you get them involved at the middle school, they're more likely to participate in high school. And that's, I mean, really, to me, that's give them that opportunity. And a lot of it has to do with what Stephen is saying, is if it's there at the school, it's associated with the school, maybe you have a coach at the school, the kids are more likely to get involved. There's less barriers for them being there and getting involved. So.
Mr. Haney did a poll for us, and I like the way he did it too, because we went over and talked to kids once about the high school program. And they called down anybody who's involved in high school, wanted to play in high school during class time, and we had probably 100 kids show up. So he did it a little bit different, very smart. The kids were on their own time, and they had to go over and say they'd like to play. And when you look at the poll that he did, there were 25 girls and 22 boys. Well, since we're over the youth soccer league, it's interesting to me because going on last year's numbers, high school age kids, all girls. Middle school age is 100% boys. Fifth grade down is pretty well 50-50. So when you look at the poll that he did, 25 girls said they would be interested in trying to play soccer. So going back to the barrier, there's a barrier there that this would help out. It would help out the high school, yes, but if you're looking at 25 kids that would be interested in playing something, and I think that would be a great thing for us.
Well, I think, which I'm for it. So I think you got to have a good feeder system to be successful at high school. I don't care what sport it is. That's the key to be successful. And not only that, but I like where you do a survey, and I like to see, program later on, boys at the high school level, and to see how many kids are interested. And of course, again, I'll throw it there, with the USSA, United States Soccer Association, there is grant money, and there is scholarships available. And I don't care whether it's, tennis or whatever. I think our kids need to be given an opportunity to gain that scholarship money. whatever it takes. So I commend you on the job you do, and I know what kind of individuals you are, because I actually coached you a little bit myself. So, which I'm in agreement on this, but I'm still on my physics class. So that's all I.
The Diamond brothers, are they middle school age?
Right here, I know one of them.
One of them?
John. Oh, yeah, John.
Okay, the other one is what?
Elementary.
Okay, he's still in elementary, okay. Because I know they love it.
Yes.
And I know you guys are having, you know, of course, your youth league having a lot of success, and it doesn't matter what sport. The better you are at a sport, and I think it starts when you're pretty young. Then the more it's going to be, the more enjoyable it's going to be, the more fun you're going to have, and the better. And the better you are at something, the more you enjoy it. But I appreciate what you guys do.
For the attachment that was sent, just for the audience's information as well, this program. It is a spring program at the Martin County Middle School. The estimated cost of this sport, based on a girl team and a boy team with 10 games each, it's 5 home, 5 away for each team. And these are the estimated numbers. $2,000 for transportation, that includes fuel, driver, all of that. Coach stipends, 1 girl, 1 boy. Coach is $500 each for each season. And I will say that Steve and Bobby both glossed over that pretty quickly and said that's, and every other coach, the same thing. It's not what it's about. They just turn around and invest that back in the team anyhow. The officiating, 2 per game, and guys correct me if I missed over something, at approximately 55 per game. It's $1,100. So the total annual to support this, sustain this program is approximately $4,100, which is a good investment for our kids. Also, that I'm recommending to the board for the startup to initiate this soccer program for our kids. For the girls, $1,000 for uniform or equipment stipend. That's a one-time, and then also for the boys as well. I know they talked about fundraising, which this community is very giving, very generous. But you know, the board is taking responsibility to support this program and approve it. If you do so, then we should support it and make sure it's successful from the front end. So my recommendation is for the implementation of middle school boys and girls soccer program with the initial startup of $6,100, and for sustainment it would be $4,100.
Make sure you apply for the, at least you grant information.
There is actually a grant for the lights.
Yeah, actually, Mr. Harwish was nice enough to bring in a grant that he found to Bobby, who gave it to me. This didn't help much, so I gave it to Mr. Haney. I think he sent somebody else too, but it's in the right hands now. Working on that.
I mean, it's a hit or miss.
Yeah. Putting lights at the middle school is going to help us in more ways than just soccer. So that's something we're going to work on earnestly.
I don't know if anybody's been up there in the past couple of years, but we've worked hard up there.
Yeah, the lights are there. Like, are the lights?
Yeah, they're there. They're laying on the ground.
Yeah, they're laying on the ground, but are they good?
I doubt it. It looks like they've been, when I went up there and cut the grass, it was this tall, and had to take my truck and take a chain and pull the goals out of the hillside. That's how bad it was. So I'm assuming the lights have been there for a long time.
For a while.
So
But it is a very nice field. It's a very nice field now. It just needs lights.
That is the one thing that limits us the most. We have to
So what's
cut
wrong with the
practice.
lights? I mean, what's, just.
They're not,
We don't know why they would never put up. Maybe.
Ronnie remembers that, well, they did. Yeah, but there've been lights that were bought.
Yeah, there was like, that was
Lost
lost.
up there. And it was, actually a pretty big
yeah, the line up there.
ticket item. It was, huh? Yeah, we just didn't install them. I mean, it was.
There's a scoreboard.
There's lights.
Used to be. I doubt that the scoreboard works anymore. Well, power's up there, isn't it?
There's power up there, but the auto thing has been turned off.
Yeah, we'll get the lights.
Yeah, all the boxes and things are up there.
Okay. Yeah, it seemed like a big amount of Yeah, I'm all for it.
Anybody have
Started
any
that.
questions on it or anything? Thank you very much. And do we need a motion to?
Motion to.
Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Need a vote? Aye.
I really like the way you compared it with the electronic games. I hope you get a couple of Xboxes and hang them from your goals, and that'll be a sweet target that you get extra for hitting. Thank you.
Okay, and next item. Our next item is discussion of superintendent matters, which is report only.
If there's any discussion or questions about the superintendent matters?
A question of what means report only? Are there normally other things, or?
It's report of personal actions. It's just a report, it doesn't have to be approved. It's just that I'm required to report it to the board.
Yeah, we don't take any action. I mean, we should take it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Our next item is discussion and possible action on establishing Board of Education regular meeting location, date, and time. Any questions on it?
I have a question, and actually I'd like to try to quiz the audience here. Is 6 o'clock too early? I take that as a no? Okay. I just want more people out.
Well, can I ask another question? Would y'all prefer at periodically throughout the year that some of these meetings be held, say it on the other side of the hill, on this side of the hill, say at Warfield Middle School, to make it
We don't have a Warfield Middle School.
Huh?
We don't have a
Martin County.
Martin County Middle School. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. You're right. At either Martin County Middle School or Warfield Elementary and Shelton Clark High School.
Well, that's what we used to do. We used to have a meeting.
Right.
Yeah, just kind of rotate them throughout the community and let folks know. Is that something that a lot of y'all would like to see, or are you content with coming here? I know you could get a lot more people there at these locations.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I mean,
Yes.
yes, what?
Rotation, you're real good. Keep people from having to travel so far that it's over that way.
Is that something that we can, as far as time and dates, we keep the same thing, but is that something that we could discuss at, since it's just brought up?
I think it could be discussed at a work session and then announced to the public no later than March meeting myself. I mean, that way we would have, if we say, well, the next meeting's going, we got to have a list, of meeting places, if we chose to do that, like where it's going to be in March, April, May, June, July, and all that.
Yeah.
You don't want to just schedule it every
It's
month.
haphazard,
Yeah.
yeah.
So is this something that maybe we could table to next month's meeting and have a list of dates and times, or?
Well, just discuss on what dates we'd like.
We have a list for our working sessions with the site-based councils already created, so you could coordinate your places with those.
That's very good.
Yeah, this is real good.
No wonder you work here.
I wonder you're the chief academic officer. That's good. I mean, that's a great time.
What do you think about it, Mr. Meadows?
As long as they're consistent
Yeah.
and you set the schedule for the annual schedule, and just remember that once you set it, if you change it, it becomes a special meeting. So as long as it's consistent, where the community knows that they don't have to guess, well, where is it this month and what date it is, as long as it's communicated clearly, and so people that can schedule, and really it drives a lot of the schedules in the rest of the district, whether it's a site-based council meeting, a faculty and staff meeting, ball games, etc. So
Yes.
your board meeting really drives a lot of calendars. So the more consistent and reliable it is and known, the better it is for the entire community.
Better to keep it here?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, let's just, let's take.
Easier for everyone to remember.
Think about all those things. What do you think, Roger?
It's fine with me. I can rotate or I can stay here.
I mean, this is something that wouldn't have to be done all the time. It could be done, but
Well, you brought up about their schedules. I understand. I hadn't thought about that because I guess some site-based councils do meet on we don't want to interfere with productivity.
The board is required to establish an annual regular meeting schedule.
Can't put a lot of pressure on the school, really. That's what they complain about.
If there's is there a concern about the Monday, the second Monday?
no, Monday works great for me. I like it.
And the time?
And the time is, it's a time all right for the public. I mean, 6 o'clock is not.
They seem to say okay.
Yeah.
It's much more convenient than 4 o'clock that physical court uses.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do? You want to keep it like it is for now?
Yeah, we can.
Make a motion.
Yes.
Yeah, let's make a motion. I'll second. Yeah, keep it as it is now.
Okay, I need a vote.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Did you call for nays? Did you vote?
Yeah, she made a
No,
motion.
I'm talking to Mr. McCoy.
I reckon so. I can go along. I'm with everybody.
Then that's fine. Sorry, thank you.
Okay. Our next item is discussion and possible action on contracts, the MOA between Lawrence County Health Department and Norton County Board of Education.
I saw that.
This does not incur any cost. It is a collaborative agreement between the health departments actually that will reach our children and allow for them to receive public health and dental hygiene for the team to come into the district, which is very good. They come to the school.
I have a question. Why does Lawrence County and not Martin? I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious.
I was curious about that too. Who'd speak?
That would be me.
I was curious about that too. When I first read it today, it's a memorandum of understanding. So maybe some people that have been on the board can explain it better than me, and they can because I know nothing about it. But
I don't either. I don't either.
What was it, Larry? What did you say?
Lawrence County applied for a grant, Martin County didn't,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's why.
So that's.
Lawrence County applied for a grant.
Yes.
Yeah.
To provide dental
Yeah.
services to
There's Lawrence County and Martin County.
Lawrence and Martin.
Yeah, and Martin County didn't apply.
our health department didn't apply for the grant.
Well,
I think it's a great program.
let me add something on that without somebody being, Larry represents the schools on the health department for us, but a lot of those grants have to do with population. You gotta have so many. So it may be the case where Lawrence County, Martin County, if they competed, they wouldn't have enough population to receive the grant. So please don't think that we're saying that Martin County just said, well, we're not even going to apply for a grant like that for our children. It may be one of those where Martin County Health Department said, okay, you guys go ahead and take this grant so we can get it for both counties.
So will the dental van still come to our schools that we have now?
Yes, yes.
Anybody here from Martin County?
I'm on the board.
Larry's on the
Mr.
board.
James.
On the board.
Do you know why they didn't apply for grants to?
I do not, it may have been like I said, a numbers thing where it's okay, you apply for this one, I'll apply for something else. I don't know, I just know that they didn't, the board didn't apply for the Mark program.
But the thing about our kids are going to get dental.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they'll get free.
Totally free.
Yes.
That's the good thing.
I'm going for that.
Thank you.
Okay, do I need a motion to accept?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to accept.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, I need a vote.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Our next item is discussion and possible action on comprehensive district improvement plan for 2014-2015.
Madam Chairman. The copy that was sent to you on attachment, hopefully that you were able to open it. It is a large document, should have a PDF for the comprehensive district improvement plan going forward for our district. We discussed this in our diagnostic review. It is an annual update. It's a living document, meaning that we do update it throughout the year. And each time that we do any changes, we come back to the board.
Does anybody have any questions on it, any comments? If not, I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second. I'll make a second.
I'll second.
Okay, I need a vote. Aye.
It can be changed anytime, sir?
Yes, sir. It's not restricted.
Then I vote yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next item is a new business. New business? No.
May I speak? Yeah, I got a couple new business things to bring up that I'd like to see us discuss maybe in the future or something. And a couple questions and a statement. But my new business is the health care for students. I'm very concerned about it, and I know we all are. And I spoke briefly with the I guess, I don't know what he's called, Larry, CEO or the
From Steve Ward.
yeah, Steve Ward of the Martin County Board of Education, and he knew, he knew the health department. Thank you, and he knew of my my desires, I guess, to place a nurse at the Sheldon Clark High School to stabilize anything from asthma attacks to not just to hand out aspirins, but to stabilize these people, these students, until EMS can get there. The ambulance has, Dr. Laney, the ambulance has been at that school how many times this year? That, to your knowledge, a ballpark figure?
6 maybe.
6. They're not called unless something is very serious, and I think that someone there to stabilize is definitely needed. I'd like to see a nurse there. He spoke with me about his budget being real tight, and not only that it was tight, but he might have to, he's going to have a harder time making budget, and I'm just talking for his department. What I would like to see, Madam Chair, Superintendent Meadows, and the board, is that a couple of people from the Board of Education, members here, and along with Mr. James, who is on the board from the Health Department, meet sometime, set up a meeting in say February with Mr. Ward and talk about ways that we could supply more health care to our students surrounding county and in the surrounding area in the different schools, whether it be a shared experience or not. I'd like to have that somehow done, and I don't know exactly
Let me help.
what. Yes, sir, thank you.
There's two ways that we can do this. If two board members at a
Yes,
max would like to meet with representatives of the health department, we can set something up pretty quickly. Just to give us all an opportunity to get some
Right.
kind of agenda. If three or more board members,
Right, I
then we would need
understand that,
a call meeting. So if whichever way the board would like to approach that, I think it would probably be beneficial if the entire board would receive that, because then you wouldn't have to rehash the information again, but that's totally up to the board. Then it would be a work session, there wouldn't be any action on it, then you could bring it back to public forum and take action if you so desire. Whichever way you want to do that, we can set it up.
I think your idea of the whole board having a work session is superior to what I just gave, and as two members, so I would like to see that.
We'll set that up in February. Is that what you'd like to get to? Okay.
What schools have nurses right now? Do you know?
All schools have,
Yes, please.
all the schools have a nurse right now, except for the high school, and Warfield and Inez have been sharing a nurse all year until today. They got a nurse today, or Miss Brenda was over there today, and tomorrow, I'm thinking Terry, she'll start over there full time tomorrow, and Brenda comes back up to us, so we'll get our full-time nurse back starting tomorrow.
So how did that work that all of a sudden you went from shared to full-time?
Well, the whole time we were supposed to have got it back, and they've been waiting for applicants and this and that, and then they had to train this person, and I don't know, we're just happy that it happened.
Well, that's good. So then I'm happy that you have them too, both of you. But now it seems that the high school is the one that's lacking.
Correct.
Okay.
I know they were calling, like if it was an emergency, they would call Brenda, and that would be that she has left the building and came up there, not all the time, but she would come up there, and if they needed her, they would call, and she would come up there, our nurse would.
And I also think Ms. Williams goes up as well.
Maybe that's why we haven't been called as much, because Ms. Williams.
Yeah, Ms. Williams comes by.
Okay. That's second. I don't mind working on this and coming back to the board with a report. But while I was at training in Louisville, I happened to be talking to people. It was board member training. It was boot camp, I guess, for new board members. I was talking to people about my concern of how they handle their board meetings as far as questions from the public, because sometimes, as a few of you may know, it can get sort of wild and rowdy, and we don't want to have a circus atmosphere. And so what I would like to do, Madam Chair, Superintendent Meadows, and fellow board members, is to continue to talk to other counties, seeing how they handle their public concerns, how they handle receiving the public concerns and questions from the public and from their employees, and bring that back to you. I've talked with people I've talked with a lady who is going on the board in Jefferson County, but I have other people I wish to talk to, a very good a friend that I made from the Madison County Board of Education and others. And is that okay for me to do?
Yes, sir. And you could, right after this meeting, I'll give you the protocols that we have. We'll first look at the policies.
And that's that big book, isn't it?
No, I
okay. They got a big book of policies, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's a big book. But the public comment period of the Board of Education, that period is what we're really looking at, and how we can more effectively manage the meeting. And I'll be happy to give you those. And if the board would incorporate that, support that, then that's the way it would be.
Okay.
And there would be a public comment period on that as well.
Okay. Also, there's evidently a new position that's going to be around a PBIS.
Yes, actually 4.
And those positions will be posted in February?
Well, 2 positions are posted now, and those are the school psychologists. And then we have 2 that are PBIS, what they're listed as under the grant as coaches.
When will those 2 psychologists' jobs be?
I'm sorry, say that again?
When will the psychologists be hired?
As soon as we can vet them and get the candidates, then we're going to put them on board. We have we're looking at the grant, which is a 5-year, it's $1.5 million for 5 years. The question was when we got the grants usually typically come out, they come out after the beginning of the school year's already started. So what you're having to do is recruit candidates, and school psychologists are incredibly difficult to recruit anyhow. So the challenge is even greater in the middle of the year. So we put those out there. Mr. Paul Baker, our current school psychologist, has made contacts with UK, Eastern, Western universities that have these programs. He's going to be going to those campuses to recruit. As it stands, we have one interested candidate so far for 2 positions in school psychologists.
Who will hire these psychologists, the board or the school?
Will it be the site-based or
separate school?
No, it's a district grant for the middle school and the high school, but it's always in collaboration. For instance, you know, I'm not going to interview people for a job. So that's going to be because they're going to be working with the middle school, or they're going to be working with the high school. So that wouldn't be work very well if I said, here you go, here's hire X for what you want them to do.
So site-based committees will be hiring them, right?
Well, no, they will be doing the interviewing, the school plus Mr. Paul Baker, who's the school psychologist, and probably another district administrator. But I don't get involved in the interview process.
Okay, but it'll be posted, and what it is, I'm going to be very honest. Someone, you know, people always talk to you when you're board members, whether you're in this supermarket or whether you're trying to watch the UK basketball game, and at a venue that you shouldn't have been at, I guess. But no, it's a good venue. It's just that, you know, people were questioning me.
You look a lot good, Mickey.
I wanted to be back at that venue. But anyway, and they complained, sir. They made a complaint that there was a job that was going to come out of this grant that even before it was posted, someone from Lawrence County had been promised it. And I told them that I don't believe this board would do something like that. But I want the board to know that people think that. And so I wanted just to clear that up. And in the same question, anybody who gets a job at a grant, from a grant, is hired from a grant and paid by a grant, that does not guarantee them that same job or any job once the grant is over, correct?
Until they're tenured. If they're tenured, you bought them.
You have a job, but not necessarily in that position.
That's correct. That's right. That's right. And it does not guarantee for the life of the grant either. If someone is hired, like say for instance, school psychologist, and if the board remembers, we had the grant with our the sponsor of that grant, the consultant that's working on that grant with us. It was a 5-year agreement. We can't do that. It's not allowed by law. We go year by year, whether it's consultant or whether it's the employee. So the life of the grant guarantees someone employment in that position. It is a year by year. Up until tenure, it still doesn't guarantee the position, but if they're tenured, then we bought them. That's what you have to be careful with any and all grants. Because when the money runs out, as in the previous years when we got stimulus money from the feds, every district did. Well, many districts did not keep track of the people they hired. When the money ran out, you still had the people. And it got a lot of folks in trouble financially. Now, to the other more important point. I'm fairly well balanced on personnel and advertising. One of the things that is challenging is the recruitment of certified teachers to this area in those specialized areas like school psychologists. It's very, very difficult. But once they're posted, it's a 30-day. We sometimes even exhaust that 30-day, but as far as somebody getting promised a job when the job hasn't even been posted yet, I don't know how to respond to that. I haven't promised any jobs.
I just felt like to bring it up just because people think like that out there, and we need to change that
perception. Absolutely.
Yeah, perception. And which leads me to my last thing. It has come to my attention that there are employees, both certified and classified, that whether it's true or not, have the perception that if they come before this board with a concern or a question, that they feel like they will be retribution will be dished out to them. And I just want them to know, you got that thing on, Wolf? I just want them to know, Ronnie, I want them to know that during my tenure, I will not stand for something like that, and I don't believe that anybody on this board would. And I just want to change that perception. And I want them to come here because if they have concerns, they are the professionals, they have kids in their best interest, and that's what we have to have. So please, erase that from your mind, and that's my statement. Thank you very much.
Can I make, Kathleen, one more thing on the event? Okay. I am board member, be very, very careful what I say. There's been allegations, I guess accusations made against me, certain things that I've done. For instance, Mr. Haney, I came to your school and took photos. You were not even aware that I took photos until I left the school. You were one of the first people that I saw when I came into the school to let you know that I had, and I'm not saying that you said that, I'm just saying that that's what the OEA has had reported on me. There's things that they're requiring that I take 3 hours of training, and the execution of my duties as a board member, keeping them separate from my role as a newspaper. And I'm not going to do that. I have a right to face my accusers of anything that I've done. Anything that I've done illegal or unethical, I don't feel that I have. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to take their training. I mean, I have a right. I mean, if somebody accuses you of doing something and said, okay, we're going to require that you do this to get a good standing. I haven't done anything to warrant that. Now, if you want to bring that against me, have at it. Have at it. And the last thing I want to go do, because right now, we're involved in a lot of good things. The construction of the school. I like the fact that we got a school, a distinguished school, and have a lot of other things going on. Anything that I've done, and please, everybody in here, any administrator that is in here, please realize that when I come to your school, yes, I am a board member, but I'm also a reporter. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to ask you anything as a board member. I'm just there to observe. I don't order anybody around. I don't make anybody do anything. The roof at the middle school was a very, very big concern of mine, simply because we paid $216,000 for it, and it still leaked. You know what I mean? I felt that I failed. So I just want to make that plain. I have no intention. I will remain as a board member until they remove me. they gotta have very, very good reason to remove me. So I just, please understand, as I say when I show up to the school, yeah, I am a board member, but I will let you know if I'm there as a reporter. And the OEA or any other organization is not going to interfere with coverage of the school system. I mean, if that means that I remain neutral, and Lisa Staten, who is the owner of the paper, her position is that she will treat this board as if I weren't on it and as if she didn't know me and that we were friends or whatever. And I want to tell you something, Lisa can be a whole lot more scathing than I am. So I'll just leave you at that. The whole thing, it all comes right down to transparency, comes down to everything being out in the open and people knowing what's going on in a local school system. So I'll just leave it at that.
I'd like to ask a couple of questions. You said there was going to be 4 job openings?
Yes.
And they posted 2 of them?
2 psychologists.
What are the other 2 for?
They're 2 coaches.
2 coaches?
Yes, they're coach for the positive behavioral intervention specialists is what they're actually titled, coaches.
Okay, who?
They work with the teachers and the students if necessary.
Is this something that all the schools have, like in other counties?
No, this was a grant that was awarded to Martin County schools.
Right.
For the middle school and the high school.
I think there's only two schools, districts in the state that got it.
But it said 2 psychologists and 2 coaches?
Right. So there'll be 1 psychologist, 1 coach assigned to middle school and 1 assigned to high school.
So came at a great time for us, and which we have the Green Dot program and channels, and I'd just like to say, and I know I talked too much, but on the bullying issue, I just want to stay on top of it, and let's not get a false sense of security. And again, the grant, and of course, we've talked before about grant, but on that, there's a grant out there available for a resource officer, and hopefully with the new sheriff, that we can seek that grant, and hopefully we can get that.
Well, that's kind of what I thought it was. And when you say coaches, I think basketball, baseball, I think that kind of coach. What do you mean? What kind of coaches? And who sets forth the qualifications for that? Who decides?
Well, right now we're developing the job description. That job description will come before. That's why we haven't advertised it, because the job description has to be by law approved by the board.
Okay. Will it be certified or classified?
It's certified.
Okay.
That's one of the requirements of the grant. It is a certified position.
And what kind of coaches?
It's the counselor, and they're going to be heavily involved in the RTI, response to intervention, student data, determining which school psychologists, and especially in the lane of our special education, in student assessments to determine what kind of accommodations or maybe special needs, but across the spectrum of all of our students. When we're talking about the MAP data earlier, Paul Baker is a school psychologist, our counselors, well, our administrative team, all are very versed in analyzing that data. But these 2 positions for coaches and the 2 psychologists, that's what they're looking at, and it's specific to behaviors. So there'll be a lot of surveys over the next 5 years, a lot of community forums. It's just going to be saturated with the behavior, trying to change the behavior and the climate and the culture of Martin County schools, faculty and staff, parents.
Anything else on your business? If not, let's move on to our reports. School reports, school safety reports, Martin County Middle School and Shelton Park High School.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Tonight will be our first look at the school safety audit that was conducted in November. The Kentucky Center for Safe Schools certainly did us a favor. I don't know how to put it any easier. It's usually a 12-month wait to get on that list because they're not affiliated. They don't follow the KD or anything. They came in because of our circumstances. They came in and conducted audits in the middle school and high school. So here tonight is our first look at it. It will be a standing item on the report until we have satisfied all of the deficiencies. And Mr. Brent Haney is going to lead that discussion for us tonight. A lot of the, and if you did not, we're not able to open up the attachment, what you were sent was the summary that was given to us by Mr. Akers out of Kentucky Center for Safe Schools. but we also received a hard copy full report. It's just an unabridged version, I suppose. So once we got that last Friday, we called up, Craig Grayson and I called up and said, could you send that electronic? Well, they did send it to us. They didn't own it, but they did get it sent to us. So there is an unabridged version. Tonight, Mr. Haney is going to lead the discussion because they are so similar, the high school and middle school, whether it's doors that are ajar.
Tobacco.
Yes, tobacco use, among other things.
I read mine. So.
Yeah. So the summary is a good snapshot of the unabridged version. So, Mr. Haney.
I just told Mr. Markham, I said, I know what we've been talking about sprinkling, the Methodists and the Baptists. And, you know, I'm the second preacher up here. I know what they feel like when the next one gets up. They're like, nonetheless, I'm just going to try to hit the highlights with you. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. Dr. Laney, please, at any moment, chime in. Be about 30 minutes brief at best. No joke. KCSS, Kentucky Center of Safe Schools, came in and they did surveys. They did student surveys. They did staff surveys. They did our public, community, parent, surveys. They also came in and they did interviews with the students at Shelton Park High School as well as the staff at Shelton Park High School and Martin County Middle School. And then they started tallying all the results from all of the findings together, and thus being how you got the report, the summary of the report that you all received. And there were many commonalities. That's kind of what I'm going to speak to, the commonalities within the reports. And one of the commonalities was supervision. Knowing as a teacher, as a staff, the number one responsibility that we have as a staff in a school is the supervision of our kids. And they highlighted things of making sure that you're standing at doors, making sure that people, bathrooms are one of the hardest places, restrooms to supervise, to try to make sure that those areas are very well supervised. Things, commons areas, whether it be or corridors, passing corridors like stairwells from me, those type of, making sure that they were supervised very adequately. So then we went on. One of the other things that they talked about was containers that people would bring in to schools, open containers, and the possibilities, safety possibilities that might present schools. They did also, they looked at things such as whether our doors, our locks on our doors work, the procedures of entering our school, the buzz-in systems, checking into the office, badges, no badges, all of those sorts of things. They looked into all of those procedures to see if those were accurate as well in our building. I mean, honestly, it was very extensive, to be quite frank with you. I mean, they went through everything in our building with a fine-tooth comb. And in that report, and I'm not going to hand all this stuff out, they talked about real quickly, and then I'm just going to tell you about our responses, but supervision, and they talked about bus issues, dress code issues, substitute teachers, locked classrooms, bullying and harassment, graffiti, internet safety training. They talked about things such as suicide prevention, visitor passes, how you would answer the buzzer system for when, those might be things you wouldn't think about, but they spoke about school nurses, video surveillances. They spoke about and that's not it, that's not exhaustive, those are just some of the highlights. Now, Dr. Laney and his staff, as well as the staff at Martin County Middle School, they have been they've been at the response to this, trying to figure out exactly what we need to do in response to all of their findings to make it a safer place for our kids, our staff, our communities to be. One of the very first things that took place at both of our schools, open containers. That was eliminated. No open containers brought in to buildings, which makes it a little harder for the tobacco product, that being one of the issues, the skull spit and so forth, of having hiding the bottle and spitting in it, or bringing something in. So no open containers now are allowed in the building.
More specifically, the supervision, designating certain staff members. Now, if you look at my plan, as we met with each and every teacher, and we're still working on some of the staff that we have, but assigning when you go into a restroom to check it as far as a staff person, what stairwells that you got to be in each and every period to check, those types of things. Now there are very specific designated people for some of the areas that maybe we didn't have, because what they found in the report was that it may have been Mr. Crum, or it may have been me who was placed in the duties of the supervision, and they asked us to remove us from those and have staff members. That way we would be free to be in any area at any needed or given time. Recommendations of now when you come to Martin County Middle School, when the buzzard is, they're going to ask you, may I help you? And instead of just looking to get a visual, now it's not only looking to get a visual, but it's also trying to assess your tone, trying to assess, are they mad, are they excited, what's going on before they enter the doors. Now also at Martin County Middle School, all doors are locked at all times, classroom doors, and that's kind of a battle, because for years it was, if you have a locked classroom door, something bad's going on. I remember that when I first started teaching. Leave your doors open, let everybody see what's going on inside your classrooms. Well, now, because of the change of times and cultures and so forth that we live in now, everybody's doors are to be locked at all times. Little things, though, that you don't think about in a response. So it was good, because, for instance, they came and they knocked on one of the doors of one of our classrooms, and the man was standing there and he had his badge on. I mean, he was looked like by all he's supposed to have been there. He was part of us. One of the students got up and opened the door and let him in. Well, that ended up as a red flag on my report that no student is to ever allow anybody, not even me, in. The teacher is supposed to be the one that comes to the door and opens the door, for the practice of no one else ever opening the door just haphazardly. But there were also some really good things. I mean, I could spend hours talking to you. We had an hour-long staff meeting, and we were still, I was, all right, we're done, and really we weren't. But there were some good things that come from the report. In Dr. Laney's, one of the things they spoke about was their response to all the problems they had at the beginning of the year. It was a very good note that was made in that report, that the high school and the staff had done an excellent job combating that issue that seemed to be a heightened moment in our community, but they did an excellent job doing that. Another positive at Martin County Middle School was the camaraderie within the staff, and the report that students felt that there was somebody in the building that they could speak to in the event that there was a problem. I take that as a very big compliment to have. So we have responded to everything on there, and we're still working on issues, but we have responded to everything. Now, if you have questions or more details, I really tried to just make that as brief as possible, and you can ask. I know Nora was in our meeting. There was nothing brief about that meeting, but there has been a response to every finding on there. Some of them we're still trying to make a little better, as you kind of reconfigure or change procedures of it.
Was there a timetable to respond to all of them?
No, I don't recall there being a timetable within what I read of a response, because this was strictly voluntary. The audit was, it was nothing mandated, so even in their response to us, it was merely suggestions, take it or leave it, but you'd kind of be a fool not to take it once an audit team comes in and gives you a response to preventative measures.
Yeah.
So.
We had this done about 3 or 4 years ago in high school. I was around sitting on that exit meeting also. And comparatively speaking, this one was much better. I mean, they found things like auditors do, but they were smaller things, a lot more manageable things. The things they found a few years ago were more difficult to deal with just because of the building layout for a lot of purposes. But they had a lot of good things to say about both the middle school and the high school.
I remember the one that you're talking about, the high school.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually wanted you to put up
$300,000 worth of doors.
Yeah, a barricade there where all the doors were open. They said you could crash through them. I mean, there were lots of things that I looked at. So, my goodness.
There were really no huge surprises, to to be quite frank with you. Most of the things that was written in either report, Dr. Laney and I, as we spoke, I mean, it was things that, we knew that were some areas that needed some improvement in. So,
While he was there, since he's the expert on Dr. Akers, we asked him, how do you get in front of this Facebook issue? Because a lot of the problems, it's about 70% or more, start on Facebook that we deal with at the school. And he really didn't have a good answer.
But we also found in that as one of the big areas was bullying and harassment from the surveys as well as the interviews that were given. We found out that we were already on track of doing some very positive things prior to this ever coming into our system. PBIS, rating challenge, the things make someone's day and so on, and on and on.
And you have the proof of that.
Those things were already there.
Yeah.
So, last but not least, unless there's other questions, other things,
yes, I do. That number 2, students on the bus, they're complaining about us. That needs to be turned around. The bus drivers, we're the one with the problems.
Oh, so where's that at?
Because they do not, they misbehave very badly.
Okay, the other.
Very disrespectful a lot of times.
And those are issues that we are looking into and addressing.
Because you had one bus driver on there with 60 kids, 50 and 60 kids, and them screaming and yelling, and you trying to get them down. You have to, sometimes we even have to scream and holler just to get them quiet down. They don't want to hear that. They want to jump up, they want to scream, and they tell us we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, I can understand.
It's bad.
I mean, a bus driver's job with 60 kids.
Very difficult.
And you're the only person on there.
60 kids.
And you got to watch the roads and the kids. Yeah.
Are you getting help discipline-wise with your principals, building principals?
When they turn them in, yeah, but sometimes you have to ride the whole busload up.
Write them up.
Write them up.
I mean, it's.
I guess the main thing was I was going to ask what is going to be done about that. Have you talked about that?
Well, those are things that we are in discussion with. Absolutely, it has not been left uncovered. Do we have an answer? No, we really don't. I mean, it's one of those things, we admire you and the jobs that you do, and we know that, I don't know how many times I tell the bus drivers that pull into my lot that I wouldn't do your job because I know that, I like having them in front of me, not behind me when I'm in the school. So it is a very difficult job, and we try to take it very seriously when you do turn in
Well, there is one
disciplinary
thing I will
slips.
say that you can work on is the garbage and the trash. They tell us our buses is dirty. You could sweep those buses every day and have a huge garbage bag of garbage because the kids throw everything in the floor, shred paper, bottles, pencils broke, throwing on paper wads.
And a lot of the trash comes from our kids running into the high school because they still sell the pop and chips and candy bars. That's off at the middle school, that's off, just get on the bus at the high school. They'll run in there and buy all this and bring it out and put it on their bus.
If you can tell me, and I'm going to make this response,
I mean, they sneak. We tell them they're not allowed in there, but they will sneak because there's so many getting off of buses at the middle school, at the high school, and they run right into the high school and buy all these because they still sell it.
In response to that statement, and I have done this before, if you know who those students are that is doing that, bring them to me, and I'm sure Dr. Laney would be the same way. I'll put them back on the bus and we'll clean it up together. Those are things,
I've done it. Because I already, many times as I've told them, they were sneaking in, now it's hid back in their book bags and stuff, and then they're in the back there, and then when I go back there to check my bus at the evening, it's all over the place.
We are working on the bus issues, and
really
hopefully day by day they'll get better.
At least 10 minutes before our buses all get up there, stop selling it, close that place down and not let the kids in there to buy that. I mean, that helps a whole lot, just not let them go in there to buy.
Can I say something? You were talking about the tobacco issue. Well, when they have break, they'll bring a pot out on the bus. There goes your tobacco stick.
A lot of those things should, the open container policy, that should not be, you see a kid get on your bus with an open container, that is very easy to take care of now because an open container, for instance, at Martin County Middle School, cannot leave the cafeteria.
or that room where the snack was sold in. So as far as a kid bringing an open container onto a bus from the middle school, and I can't speak directly, because I've not read how his is written, so I'm not speaking, don't confuse the two in case they're not identical. They should not be bringing one, period, onto that bus from the middle school.
What's your punishment?
And the kids already know this?
Yes,
All the kids know
absolutely.
this?
Sent papers home and everything.
You never know
You had a
that.
good point about cameras on the buses. I mean, you can look on there and see who does what. That's one of the things that we're going to spend the vast majority of our safe schools money on next year. We'll try to get as many buses equipped with cameras as we can. How many we have now, Larry?
Probably about half, but probably less than half.
So we're going to do our best to get as many as, especially the problem buses, and we have a few that are
The
working.
cameras help too.
We're going to try to get as many as we
Your
can.
kids don't care about them cameras.
Well, if we review them and point them out, then they'll have to.
Listen, wait, let's go on.
I'm going to move on to the next issue here real quickly, and that way I can step out of the way here, and if you have other questions, you can do that. But one of the things that I was asked to kind of just let you know, one of the responses that they wanted us to do was to do a tip hotline, a safety tip, online hotline. So it's called STOP, is what it's called. That has to be something that you all as a board, I actually have it with me, I believe, in here. The actual contract, or you all would have to come to an agreement vote that we're going to use that. Now, we currently have a similar, I believe, system within our county right now. They recommended, meaning the Kentucky Centers, those people that came in, to use the STOP service, to have an anonymous tip line that we as a district, not just a middle school, but as a district would use for kids to, maybe that one kid that feels like he can't talk to anybody, that there is a tip line that they could call, and then we would have someone in our schools that monitored that every day. That would be something that will be presented to you all to be kind of considering. Information to you if you'd like. It's actually in the report with a link to where that you can actually go and read more about that as well. But that's something that you all would maybe want to bring up at another meeting.
I think we've talked some about that before. When I think it was like, 43 school districts or something on that STOP.
We have Green Dot, Craig, you back there?
Yeah. I'm not sure Green Dot's the same as the
It's not, it's just a similar.
It's close to it.
Thank you, Mr. Haynes.
So
Appreciate the report.
Brent, can I ask you one question? Of course, we talk about open containers, this and that. Did they mention?
I really didn't mean 30 minutes. I was trying to get, I was just joking.
I took you at your word, sir.
But you did.
You talk about safety, but did they mention anything, which I know some schools did, we talk about soft search. They mentioned anything about that?
No, I mean, there was nothing mentioned in my report.
Would you say
it's only with backpacks or something like that. I didn't know.
When there is when a student is identified through an incident of possession, use, whether it's drugs, weapons, etc., they have a lower expectation of privacy. Meaning when, let's say that the kid smokes cigarettes in the bathroom, I mean, they're caught 2 or 3 times, or caught once, or even snuff, chew, dip, then that expectation of privacy is lowered. And when that child comes in on a bus or into a school facility, whether it's during the instructional day or even during a school-sponsored activity, an administrator can have them come over into an office or to an area and say, pull your pockets out, pull your pants up, take your shoes off.
Well, I think this school district is only used for backpacks.
But if I may add one more emphasis here, folks, the community is so very important, and the 5 board members here are the ones that's going to get the heat. When a child, somebody comes in with an open container into a school, whether it's from McDonald's or a Pepsi bottle or a water bottle, whatever it is, and the principals are saying, no, you can't bring that in here, and it gets tossed in the trash or whatever, these guys are taking the heat for it. Just remember that. But we know that it's a good policy. Kentucky Center for Safe Schools, using it as an example, it advocates that as a safe policy. We've had 2 incidents this year that come to mind where alcohol has been found in open containers. We don't know what's being brought in. We don't know what our middle school and our elementary have been subjected to on the bus. So we've got to have support from this community, because I can assure you, which has already happened, I don't know about the board members, but that parents get a little agitated when little Johnny gets his McDonald's cup taken away from him from the morning, or in the morning when he comes in. So it requires the board to be steadfast and to enforce the policy for the safety of the entire district. So please keep that in mind as we implement these policies and protocol, safety and discipline, code of conduct. It's a tough job. It's a tough job, but it pays off.
Mr. Meadows, today I had a situation on the bus, and I told some students that were on my bus, I said, that building is your school. You do what? This is school property also. That bus was school property. And I told them plain out, I said, what, the rules there or the rules here? So, and
yes.
somebody just laughed at me.
And when it comes to buses, not to prolong the agony here, but bus drivers, when you report a student and your recommendation, you report the incident to the principal. And if you don't think that the discipline rose to the level, let's just say if you thought that the incident or student behavior, the kids should be off of your bus for a few days to learn a lesson, then that's something you should put in a recommendation to the principal. And I can assure you, you will be supported. But keep in mind, when we start, and I have no problem with this at all, because transportation is not a right. If these kids are not behaving, it disrupts the entire safety of that bus, distracts the driver, and we're putting the safety and health of those children in jeopardy. So if your recommendation is for a child to be off the bus, make sure that you share that with the principal, because it will be done. That's where the calls come to the board members, it comes to the superintendent, it comes to the principals, but we will support you. We will support you.
I'm very
Got that on tape.
Give me an instance where you were there when a child needs to be off the bus. Just bring it to me.
I was very fortunate the principal did help me with my situation. I'm very proud of it.
Yes, thank you. I'm proud of that. And Larry does often ride the buses. So he's.
I think so. I will have to say, we have meetings and we discuss this, and some bus drivers should be included maybe in your meetings also. Larry listens to us, and Larry takes action on it. I have to.
Yes, he does.
We're very, very grateful for that. And, yeah, board members could ask for some input.
Thank you. Appreciate those comments.
Okay, our next thing is administrative, staff reports, financial reports, grant reports, food service report.
Yes, Tammy? While she's coming up, I'm going to give you a grant report, and we'll forego that, any discussion on it, because it's really not an approval or anything. I just want to give you a heads up on it. But Tammy will give the finance. Marcy will follow with the report that is required. It's not an action item. It's just a compliance that the report was given to the board. So we'll be finished with those two. Tammy?
They got a copy of this? Yes.
A lot of this report is repeated from last board meeting, but I think it warrants repeating. Monthly financial report and preparing for our fiscal year, next year draft budget, January 12th, 2014 board meeting. This is showing our balances as of November fiscal year 15, which is our current year. We ended with a balance of $1,216,195. November fiscal year 14, which was last year, our balance at the same time was $773,017.91, an increase in our monthly balance of $443,077.20. And if you will notice the column on the right-hand side, it compares expenditures. So we have almost $45,000 less in expenditures this year compared to last year. And our revenue is really close, $120 less revenue this year. Accomplishments. All schools are now receiving instructional money, and this is a repeat from last board meeting, but these are great accomplishments that the board has managed to do this year. All schools are now receiving instructional money. At one point they were not. New driver's ed car. We are now financially not able to fill vacant positions, new roof on Martin County Middle, a 1% raise across the board to all employees. We avoided a mid-year RIF, a reduction in force, in fiscal year 14. Purchased a new tire changer at the bus garage, overcame a deficit ending balance from fiscal year 13, and acquired state funding for a new high school. Accomplishments in the grant area, and there are more, and as Mr. Meadows said, Mr. Baker will be able to address those. But here's a quick summary. If you'll see, there are new grant monies were acquired this year, $1,887,677. Accomplishments: financially able to purchase 2 new buses, purchase safety fence at ball field, purchased a football storage building, cameras and door systems either new or updated, reverted bus driver's pay scale back to 1 pay scale, overcame a deficit ending balance of fiscal year 14 this past year, $1,108,000. Preparing for a 2% salary increase for every employee in fiscal year 16. And of course, revenue versus expenditures. You cannot have more expenditures than you do money coming in. Revenue sources, and this is just a summary quickly for our new board members. Our revenue sources for our Board of Education are federal grant monies. Local, our taxes, property, motor vehicle tax, utility tax, franchise, and online mineral tax. State, SEEK, these are calculated by ADA, and of course state projects. Expenses and obligations, salaries, fringes, insurances, buildings and utilities, transportation, debt service, and KISTA lease payments. Caution. Even though we have accomplished a lot, there are still cautionary measures we need to take to protect what we have accomplished in the past year and a half. Less financial concerns, less SEEK allocation from state. And if anyone has read KSBA, our state revenues have decreased. And even if we don't see a big impact this year, of course the economy, well, just common sense will tell us we will see it in the future years. Decreased enrollment in ADA is a concern. As of current, we have 40 less students attending school on a daily basis, or 40 less students, that are enrolled currently from the beginning of the year. It could factor up into $200,000 less in this for SEEK money this current year. And of course it shows the enrollment at the beginning of this current year, 2042, enrollment currently, 2001. We have 40 less students now than beginning of the year. Financial concerns. There is a state mandated raise for our employees for fiscal year 16, 2% across the board. Is the sustainability of that state mandated raise is a financial concern. Decreased state funding through grants, higher insurance costs and fringes, current year kids' liability payments, prospect of higher workers' comp due to current claims, loss of Head Start transportation reimbursement, higher transportation and increased cost of utilities and supplies, maintenance costs, decreased state revenue, funds, our SEEK monies, decrease of a local tax base. So this is just a summary of our finances and a prelude to us creating our draft budget for fiscal year 16. And I've given the board a handout of our budget schedule.
Yeah.
We have one.
Also includes the policy on what I did last week as well.
Budget schedules. We have a draft budget for fiscal year 16, has to be board approved by January 31st. State law requires that the local board review the draft budget by January 31st of each year. No report is submitted to KDE for the draft budget. Do not know actual number, and the reason is we do not know actual numbers for revenue nor expenditures for next year. This is an estimated budget. It captures, or a caption of what we can expect. The general projection of expenditures and revenues. That's what you will be approving this month. A tentative budget for fiscal year 16 due to the state by May 31st. A working budget will be due to the state by September 30th. And we will be scheduling a work session for the budget. So
Can
you
you
all
give me an idea of what we can expect on, which last year, I mean, we took a $20 million hit on environmentals. A big hit.
And property was about 80.
Well, our property was about the same. I mean, our property, right?
No, we took about an $82 million hit on assessment values.
No, our assessments last year were, our assessments was, you know, Bobby Hill was here.
I can provide you with that information and that
Yeah,
spreadsheet
our
in their work
assessments,
session.
yeah,
Yes.
our assessments were roughly the same. You know, the big thing, what really hurt us was I think it was from 108 million down to 80 million on environmentals. I mean, that's what really hurt. Our assessments were roughly the same as they were from the previous year. There might have been like I think Bobby told me something like a 0.02% difference. It wasn't anything. But that's where we really...
But I will have those numbers for the board at our work session and anything else that you might want.
When's this work session?
We have a budget committee meeting planned for January 20, tentative. I haven't sent out invitations yet and contacted all interested parties, and then we'll set up a special board meeting, Mr. Meadows?
Yes.
For a work session and a special, work session, then hopefully a special board meeting after that to adopt the draft budget. And as I said, it's just a caption, just to notice trends and what direction we're going in and what expenses to expect.
Yeah. Who are the interested parties you speak of? I don't understand.
We had a board member. We have a board member. We did have the chair served last year as part of that committee. So the superintendent, by policy, the superintendent puts a committee together, but you open it up to the schools to who wants to participate. There are some expectations, like principals expect to participate in the budget process. Yeah, and they do, and we've learned a lot over the last year about the budget process. So it's been a growing time for all of us. So.
And as what I meant was, by interested is it's not a complete list yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Considering the circumstances, I mean,
I will.
on the report that I was 2 years ago, when we were looking at $550,000, $600,000 and projected by Mr. Spillman, was it?
Yes.
To be $900,000 by the end of school. I think it's, of course, like the driver's ed card, which I think is a part of, the Kentucky Center of School Safety. I mean, we came in and here you're driving a 96 or 98 Geo it's just unsafe, and I think that's part of school safety too. And I think there's a lot been, and if you look at Muhlenberg County, so I think teachers are getting a 10% cut, 90 people over off. I don't know how many. Somebody started out 90. I don't know how many they're going now, but I think basically we're in a pretty good situation, and hopefully it'll get better.
Yes,
so but you can't.
And I think our short-term goal is to make sure we have an ending balance of $750,000 at the end of this year, just to take into account the experience raise, our 2% mandatory carry forward, and of course the 2% raise for next year. That amounts to about $750,000. So when you see our monthly balance, don't get too excited because it can get eaten up with salaries throughout the years and expenses. But that's our short-term goal.
Compared to other districts, but yet you want to give your classified. We got a ways to go. There's no question about it. And you want to purchase more. I mean, 1 to 2 buses and head on down the road and hopefully that'll happen.
Absolutely. Long-term goals. Very good.
Thank you, Tammy.
You're welcome.
I'm required to report the status of the nutrition and physical activity environment by January 31st of each school year.
And can I have a copy of this also in the packet?
Just a little newsletter type report. All of our nutrition programs, which include the National School Lunch Program, the School Breakfast Program, and our Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program at Warfield Elementary and Eaton, are in compliance with both federal and state regulations. We receive an audit this school year in April that will confirm that we're complying with all the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act regulations. One of the newest regulations this year included the Smart Snacks in Schools. These new guidelines put restrictions on all foods and beverages sold on the school campus during the school day. I think all of our schools are working hard to be in compliance with this new regulation. All of our schools have active wellness committees, and they all have policies that have been adopted by the school councils. We're currently working with KDE on a new online tool to evaluate our wellness policies, because this year, effective July 2015, there's new regulations on our wellness policies. And I think all the schools in our district will be in compliance by that time.
Thank you, Marcy.
Fair Martin County Education Association report.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Don't that sound nice? Welcome to the two newest members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you're going to progress, because that's been happening a lot here. And I look forward to working with both of you. I shoot straight. I think the poorest of the poor should be treated just as good as the rich of the richest. It hasn't happened here. It is now. It means everything to me. And I think Mr. Ball kind of got me off track of everything I wanted to say tonight. But so if I understood you correctly, someone reported you to Miss Timmel for taking a picture of a roof that you got ripped off on? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah, well, the whole thing about it is they say that I entered the school without signing in, and that Mr. Haney was apparently unaware that I was even at the school until I left. There was an aide who let me into the school. As a rule, I generally do sign in. This day I didn't. The aide let me right back to Mr. Haney. Mr. Haney was the first person I saw beside the aide. And Mr. Haney was aware that I was there to take pictures of the, he's here, he's not here, of the roof that was leaking. Actually, the water damage and stuff.
I'm floored.
Upstairs. Well, if you've not been upstairs in middle school, I mean, you walk in as a visitor, you walk in downstairs, you walk through the cafeteria and all that stuff. It looks, looks real nice. You really get a real good view when you go up on the second floor, which visitors normally don't do. You see a bunch of discolored panels. You see this drop rail, the border around there where you see water that has run down behind the rail, and you have rust running down all over the place. Beautiful school, 16-year-old school. That upstairs, I mean, you have water run down. That's it. But that's basically it. Hot water for.
I'm just shocked that someone would report you for that.
Okay, well, that's no big deal.
It obviously is an outsider or someone that don't have enough to do in the school system.
Somebody that doesn't care about kids.
I mean, that floored me when you said that. I thought.
Well, there's some other things I got.
Well, I'm not going to get into it. I got a taste of your professionalism over trying to recoup some pay because we didn't discuss it. You wouldn't discuss it. And one night they said, well, they didn't want to make a decision because you weren't here. And I thought to myself, are they setting him up? Because you didn't need to be here to vote on it. But anyway, a lot of things going on. The legislative session, they went back for a few days, and obviously they didn't have much to do either, because then they took a 2-week recess. so it's in full swing. I'm sure you've read about one of the bills that we helped and are watching, and that is the KTRS bill. $3 billion and something. I want to make it perfectly clear that that's not costing the state anything. All they're doing is just taking, and actually I think Mr. Meadows did a lot of that when he came. They just took things and refinancing, got a lot of better interest rate and that kind of stuff. And the same way with the bonds. they're getting a better interest rate on the bonds now than what they had. But yet we've had, actually Muhlenberg County is one that Coach Harris mentioned, a guy had said there that, you know, oh, it's just going to cost you more, and it's not going to cost you nothing. It's not going to cost anything out of your budgets or anything else. That's what it is. And when they reconvene, we have KEA each year has a KEA Day of Learning, where we send our folks to Frankfurt to lobby. I'd love for all of you to come and lobby for education. You can ride in the expedition with me. EKEA's day is in February. I'm not sure the exact date, but I'm going to ask Mr. Meadows if he'll send a couple folks, because it's not just about retirement. There's some other bills that could be harmful, and we want to make sure that you know, charter schools, for example, is rolling its ugly head out there again, and I'll just simply tell you that charter schools is not good. There's documentation after documentation that says it's not good. And you know what they don't do that you all make sure happens? Is the poor children get to attend. They're not thrown away in a garbage can. And they get the same meals. That doesn't happen in charter schools. They get to say who they want and who they don't. It's not some of your brightest students that their parents don't have any income or anything or on welfare. Them folks don't hit the doors of charter schools. You don't throw them away. That's the difference between charter schools and what you all, a service that you all provide. I'm pretty passionate about that. That's what they do. So anyway, that is coming up next month, and I'll email the dates to Mr. Meadows on that, because it's important. Because if we don't wear them out with phone calls and personal contact, things happen. Actually, the 2% raise that your finance officer said, I'm proud to say I led that. Me and 3 other colleagues, we led that and got that bill introduced. Because it's not, and I'll use Muhlenberg again, it's not your staff's fault that boards and board members in the past took advantage of stimulus money, didn't balance their books, wasn't any transparency. It's not your staff's fault, because you have great staff here. They shouldn't be punished for all these districts that are in messes, because they've done their part. They educated, and so that's why we did that, and I'm actually proud of it. I know it's going to be hard, and you're recovering very nicely, very nicely here in financial. And I give credit to Mr. Meadows, and as much as I give to him, I give to the board members that had to make them rough decisions. I think sometimes you don't pat yourself on the back enough, because at the bottom line, you know, at the end of the day, you all were the one caught flack over these things. I'm sure Mr. Meadows did too, but Mr. Meadows is new to the area. You all have lived here your entire life, so I know you've caught some pressure from that. So I commend you for that, for making, and your finance officer. So what I would like, because the contract is done, the National Labor Relations Board has checked it over, it holds water. What I would like, because there's actually 2 issues in that contract, and if you decide you want to take them out, we'll take them out. But one of them is, I think, extra run pay. Now that you did away with the job classification, a few other things, I've added something in there about an extra run that is compensation. There's not a dollar amount, because I gave you my word that we weren't talking money. So I would ask, Madam Chairman, if you could appoint 2 people, and either the superintendent or the finance director allow my team to sit down next week one evening, and that is Connie and Nora, to look at that. And if you don't want it there, we can certainly talk. The other part is, I told you I had an amendment to something that I put it in there just for you to look and to think about, and I'm so passionate about this net zero school because I want Martin County to be a leader, not just in Kentucky, but all over the country. It's doable. There's more federal money right now over windmills and solar panels and stuff. That money's there. NEA, I sent a grant to one of you from NEA that is endless, and we work with the indoor air quality and the EPA. That money is out there. That money's out there. Don't lose, I don't want you to lose hope or your objective, because this one school has the potential of saving you $400,000 at least a year. And I put that in the contract. I'm that passionate about it. And I think that I saw from the old board passion about doing something out of the box just a little bit different.
Oh, yeah.
And I put that in there, and I did, again, transparency, Mr. McCoy, because I said this last time, I'd like to see a third of it go into wages, a third of it go into the arts for your soccer team or for the band or them folks, and the other third go into conservation, because if we start conserving in other buildings and move them towards net zero eventually, and it's coming, it may be 10, 15 years down the road. The fact of the matter is, it's coming. We can be the leader. We can, and you, believe it or not, you're a leader already, because the word in Frankfurt is her finances and your finances. You have done a turnaround, the board has, and allowed Mr. Meadows to do them things. So I would like for you, Madam Chair, to pick 2 people, or whatever you need to do, to meet with us and sit down, and then from that point on, it'll be ready. We can vote on it and move forward.
She can pick 2 people off the board, but as far as personnel of the district, if you want 2 people, I'd be happy to. I'd also like to suggest that the contract be given to board attorney as well for review and discussion.
It will. Mr. Schmidt will have a copy after we sit and meet. You may convince me to take them 2 things out. I'm giving you that opportunity. I'm being transparent.
It's up to the board.
That's Kathleen.
Volunteers.
Volunteers to look at the contract. Sure.
Okay, Vicki?
I've looked at wage bargaining agreements before in the past. I mean, do you just want 1 volunteer from the board, Kathleen, or did you?
I'd like to have 2.
Okay.
Because there's 2 on our team,
okay,
and then Mr. Meadows and I, or his designee.
Yeah. What time are we talking about? I mean,
we're open anytime you want to.
Would be preferable on Thursday or Friday.
Can we just select the volunteers and we can schedule a time? I mean, it's a small enough group. I think we agree.
Yeah, I'll volunteer. I'll volunteer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Another thing that I kind of waited around thinking that one of our members would get reimbursed for her eyeglasses. It's documented. They were broken at school. I don't think legally Mr. Meadows could go out and just buy her
Tim,
a
I
pair of
think
glasses.
we've addressed that. Have you spoken with the employee?
Yeah.
Recently?
No, it's
Okay,
been.
I think that's been addressed.
You've taken it? Good, good.
We've addressed that.
There's just a voicemail on the answer machine at the office. Did we
We've addressed that.
I hope we bought her a pair of glasses, because she's restricted to driving. The other thing is, my conversation with Mr. Schmidt right before the holidays, I asked him what the status was of compensation for one of the people. And he said, no, we're not compensating. I think somewhere down the road, we've missed something. All last year, every support staff person you had was provided with a paid lunch. Everybody, excluding your family resource folks. They weren't provided a 30-minute lunch. When this person was compensated, and I thank you for that, was compensated. But the fact of the matter is, you can't pay for everybody else's lunch, and we no longer do that here. Mr. Meadows has that straightened up. No one is losing a penny. But the fact of the matter is, somewhere down the road we've got mixed up. And if this person worked 185 days, they're entitled to a 30-minute paid lunch for that day times 185, or whatever it is. I don't know where we've messed up on this. It very well could have been me. I don't know. All I know is this person was not paid for her his or her lunch break last year for any of the days that she worked. This person was compensated over a few things that would happen, but it excluded her 30 minutes each day for X amount of days. I don't know, and if it was me that messed this up, I apologize. But the fact of the matter is she wasn't compensated for her lunch times the amount of days that she worked. The last board graciously paid what we thought she was owed, excluding lunch. All I'm trying to get now is for this person to be treated like the other 150 some folks that you have, and to be paid her lunch. That's for last school year. Has nothing to do with this fiscal year, or has nothing to do with this calendar year. Has everything in the world to do with last year. And I would be thrilled to death if someone would make that motion and pay this person and put this behind us.
All right, can I ask you a question? Because this goes back.
Yeah, we talked about this, Gary. And we talked about this. We were in agreement, whatever.
Yeah, I thought we were in agreement. If this involves an employee, this involves Nora Ray.
I think going a little do that.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. I know I can't do this, but please understand.
No, because you'll be accused of OEA.
Yeah, I know, I'll be accused of the OEA, and I don't want to put myself in hot water. I thought this thing, as Roger said, I thought it was taken care of.
Well, there was a couple of questions, and you were supposed to get the answers or whatever.
Well, the answer is, what was I supposed to,
I don't remember, but it was agreed.
Well, the whole thing about it is, if everybody else was paid, every other classified employee, if they were paid 30 minutes for lunch, and this person was not paid 30 minutes for lunch, it's wrong. I don't care who it is. So, you understand? Yeah, I made a little slip there. Because I've got a big
I would just ask that someone make the motion.
I'll make the motion
to direct, and let's get this behind us, because I am this close. Because I told Mike my hands are tied. If this person wants to pursue it, my next step is circuit court. I don't want no one spending $1 after a nickel. I certainly don't want to. And I know what we pay our attorneys. We pay them $300 an hour. So,
What were you supposed to do, Gary Ball?
I mean, what I did was very, very simple. I took what the person made on a 200, I think it's a 240-day contract, all right? I took their hourly rate and multiplied it by 120, which is extremely simple. And I could take 240 days, multiply it by 0.50 of their hourly rate, or I can take 120 days, which is half of the days on their contract, and multiply it by their hourly rate. And I come up with the figure that they were owed around 19, maybe between 19 something and 21 something. That's what this person was owed. And I don't care who it was.
Well, if
You know,
he
to me-
presented it to the board, then did he present it?
I thought this thing was already taken care of, but was it, Raj?
No, that was a question.
Huh?
That was a question that came up, which you all talked about, was.
No, well, no, the board talked about it. I thought it was done. Mr. Southern, Tim, were you under the impression that it was done at that meeting?
Yes.
Oh, well, I wasn't. I mean, that's the reason I'm trying. I thought that.
I didn't realize it wasn't, Gary, till right before the holidays when I was calling from
Okay,
folks.
well, and that's the reason I asked the question, and that's the reason I mentioned by name, because I thought this was another, this could have been another issue. I thought it was done. I thought it was something that, Roger, we voted on. Was it something, Kathleen, that we voted on?
I thought it was taken care of.
And it was taken care of.
The board voted, we can go back and look at this, that the books were reconciled. We paid a certified public accountant to come in here and audit those records. And the employee in question was compensated for everything.
Excluding her
That was
lunch.
submitted to the board by the accountant.
Excluding her lunch.
We were all in agreement to get, they put it behind us and let it go because I was sick and tired of listening to it.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't get their pay?
What?
You're gonna put it behind you even though they didn't get their pay?
No, I'm saying we agreed on to take care of it.
It shouldn't be something that's, discussed openly in an open session. I mean, if there's a question about an employee in this district who has a concern about their compensation, then that's not something that the board can enter into unless it's in a closed session. It's personnel.
No, it's not personnel. It's
Yes.
it's
compensation.
It's personnel.
It's not personnel, it's compensation.
You've already mentioned the person's name, so let's not dance around it.
I realize I've already mentioned the person's name. I realize that I made a huge mistake in mentioning that. That's something else I guess you can report to the OEA.
Well, I'd certainly love a chance, an opportunity to go in closed session with you one more time and lay my side out.
Well, I'll make the motion, we go into closed session.
I'll second it.
I wouldn't recommend that because you don't have a board attorney, but just for the record.
Well, my whole deal in thinking is that if this board owes anybody any money, then we should pay it.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
That's what we agreed on.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's what I'm for.
It's been, we agreed on that.
Well, if you agreed on it, why wasn't it?
And if we agreed to pay it.
No, we didn't. The certified public accountant said that all compensation was paid. And so the
Based
board
upon what?
the report that he was given, and that was given to this board.
Was the audit given to the board?
The audit was given to the board.
What did you all, was the hours there? Gary
This
Ball?
can't be an open discussion.
I'd love to go into closed
Personnel
session
with
discussions. If you'll have me.
I'm sorry, what?
I said I'd love to go in closed session and discuss it if you'll have me, and if not, I'm cool with that too.
I made the motion.
And it was
Seconded.
I need a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, I need a motion to exit closed session.
Okay, I'll make the motion to exit closed session.
I need a second.
To what? Come into a second.
Okay. I need a vote. Okay, Gary.
Question, is the superintendent going to join us for this meeting?
Here it is.
Good question.
Gary.
Do you want to make a motion?
Go ahead.
Okay. It's very much a risk to me. I will make the motion that the employee in question, who was compensated at 7.5 hours per day rather than 8 hours per day, like all other employees were, I make that motion that that employee be compensated for an 8-hour day, the same as other employees, that she be paid for her lunch break as all other employees were at that time paid.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I need a vote.
Aye.
For the record, I'm not going to take action on that until the legal has cleared it, because I've been told that this employee has been compensated.
At 8 hours per day.
I am not, well, I'm not going to quote the exact, but Darrell Blair, the CPA, came in here and presented to this board personally and gave a report to this board on this. So,
Remember that?
this
On this matter here.
on this matter here, of which
But they didn't match what the sign-in sheets matched.
what I'm saying is I'm just informing the board I'm not going to take the action until the board attorney has reviewed this.
That's
You cannot,
insubordination.
well, you can say it's insubordination, sir, but you cannot pay for services in the state of Kentucky, or you cannot pay for services unless they're rendered. That's state law.
We can prove that she rendered them.
Okay, well then prove it. But the board acted without legal review of this would not be wise. If the board attorney says do it, then I'll do it. But I believe it is it's illegal to do that.
Was the hours presented to the board? Was it presented to you all, Kathleen?
Did you present your hours to the accountant?
I don't think we need to discuss this in open session.
I think the
board
motion was
has
made,
it's
you made
passed.
your statement,
That's
and
correct.
then the next thing on the agenda is.
To adjourn.
To adjourn.
Adjourn.
To adjourn.
Adjourn.
I make that motion.
Need a second.
I'll second.
I'll third it.
I'll pay you.
Now let's all go watch the marching band.
Yeah,
Yeah. What is?
110 plumbers and 10 musical drummers.
Oh, it started already, I guess.
You know that?
Probably over.
I'm for the.
No, it ain't over. I don't think it starts till like 8:30 or 9.
Artificial ball, no.
Oh, that's right.
Question for you.
Mickey and Lois.
Do they need
Scott Walker told
Yeah.
understood.
Lois
In the stadium. The fans. If those fans over,
Yeah, exactly. There's your job.
and you know that Scott Walker, you're talking about Scott Walker.
Yeah, yeah.
You know that he doesn't have a college degree.
No, but you know, nothing surprises me